But I have my potatoes ready from last summer, seed potatoes. I probably got 20 pounds that are ready to go into the garden. So these are my seed potatoes. Those are the purple. I've got some of these planted in the greenhouse. I tried to grow some of these last year so I can get some seed potatoes. And they're the purple potatoes. This one right here is not going back in the ground. I'm gonna cook that with some other potatoes. I've just got a desire for that. These are nice sized potatoes, considering purple potatoes, considering that, you know, I started out with sizes like this, 3 of them. So these right here, I think there's a mixture of what do you call it, bacon potatoes, and that's a bacon potato, and maybe some store-bought potatoes I have raised up myself. These right here are Yukon Gold and red potatoes, and you see they're ready. Some of them had long shoots coming out. I just cut those off with the scissors. But I got lots of potatoes to plant. But these are my potatoes. And this is what you can do. You can get some potatoes. If you don't get that many that year, save those potatoes. Put them in a cool, dark room. And I also put a fabric over them. And in that room doesn't have any heat going to it. And it's always cool and dark. And they will shrivel up like that. That still means they're good. They're just, those eyes are just living off of the potato, and so that is normal. So if you want to start your own potatoes, as we're counting off of the seed store or your local seed store, this is what you can do. All these potatoes I've grown myself, and actually at the seed store the potatoes have not even came in yet. Hi guys, welcome back to Never Alone Homestead. So I'm out in the garden and I'm planting potatoes today. I want to show you how I plant potatoes. That works every time. So first of all, at times I don't use a string, but last year I decided to. But nevertheless, my rows end up being a little bit crooked because, as you can see, I still got stuff planted into the garden. Broccoli, cauliflower, and some potatoes, and some potatoes that kind of got hit with the frost freeze. But I put potatoes in between the ones I dug up. But here I have this string, and I just took a board, screw in a screw, and tied a string to it, and at the very end. So last year I did this, and now this year all I had to do was take it out of the shed and it was ready. This year I'm doing a different technique, because even if I have a string, I still find myself my row's a little bit crooked. I also I got this board here, so I've been going down beside the string and laying it and pushing it, so that as I'm making my row, I can still, I know exactly where the string is, even though I can see it, because for some reason the string has a tendency to move. So as I just showed you, see, the string has moved just a little bit. I think it's because that, when I'm doing this, the dirt moves a little bit. But nevertheless, I have that little pattern, and I go beside of it, and I start making my row. This is just a 3 feet type fencing pole. And since I have a row here, I lay it down beside of it. And that's pretty much how I keep the distance of my row. As you can see, when I did this, this has moved, but it doesn't have to be perfect. The focus is that I'm trying to help get my rows proportion, because as you see, I got stuff planted. There's a trellis, another trellis, and then I've got onions planted over here. So I've took this fence post here, and I measured over there, so it's just about the same. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this makes it easier for me to be able to not just keep looking for the end of the string and try to line it up. So I have my marking, And now I'm going to take my rake and just continue on making my row. So now I'm just going to go on the other side, and the row looks pretty straight. I mean, it really looks straight. So I'm going to go on the other side and continue making my little row at the same time. If I see any grass, go ahead and get the grass out. Now I have my row. As you can see, this is very fast. It doesn't take very long. And so now I'm going to continue on and do to the end of the row. Now what I'm doing, and I've already gone to the other end, I'm making a furrow so that I can put my fertilizer in there. Then I'm going to go over and put some dirt over the fertilizer. Then I'll be able to put my potatoes in. So this method helps out so that when the potatoes start growing, getting roots, then once those roots reach down, they'll be able to reach that for that fertilizer. Potatoes need nitrogen to begin with. So these are my seed potatoes from last year's potatoes. Now, potatoes thrive in temperatures between 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And they do require full sun, and they need a loose soil that's well drained and fertilized. Fertilizing is particularly important. A lot of people think that potatoes don't need water, but you do water, or if you're lacking rainwater, raining, then you want to make sure that your potatoes get water, especially during droughts. Potatoes do have a high maintenance nutritional need. They need to be fertilized 4 to 5 times throughout their life cycle, and many farmers and growers like I use different blends of fertilizer. Some use efficient mulching, some just use 15-15-15 or 10-10-10. Some people use organic fertilizer, but you have to realize that organic fertilizer is slow releasing. So I would suggest using granular fertilizer, which comes into pellets or coarse powder that releases nutrients over time, but it does release the nutrients that are ideal for the ensure a proper balance of nutrition over a plant's life cycle. Now, nitrogen, it stimulates the stems and the leaf development in plants. Throughout the excess of nitrogen can be a negative impact to tubal growth. You want to make sure that after about a month or two that you start backing off of the nitrogen, because nitrogen does produce a lot of leaves. Before harvesting, a month or two, they require phosphorus. The tubers need a high yield of phosphorus, and potassium impacts the plant's output and reduces black spots. Into this garden, I have some lime in the soil. I've already fertilized it a little bit back in December. We're in January, and so that's sort of been done. But I've also put in potash, which is good. You don't want to put a lot of potash, but potash is really, from your wood stove, is really good. Getting the magnesium from the lime, especially if you have growing in sandy, low pH soils. Magnesium helps to add acidity to high pH soils. And boron helps potato plants absorb calcium from the soil and improves potato skin texture. So a month or two after the potatoes have been planted, you need lots of nitrogen. So a fertilizer with NPK 3400 is the best choice. NPK of 12, 12, 17 or 14, 7, 21. Last year I used 10, 10, 10. They did all right in this plot. My other plot was 3400, and they did really great. One thing you want to check though is you want to check your pH for growing. Potatoes are slightly acidic. You want your pH between 4.8 and 6.5. It's very important to test the pH level of your soil before planting potatoes, so that you can establish, what you need into your garden, how to amend it, what type of fertilizer to raise or lower the pH levels. The amount of fertilizer that you will need depends on the size of your garden and the quantity of your, the quality, should I say, of your soil. Generally speaking, about 1,000 square feet of potato gardens uses about approximately 25 pounds of fertilizer over the lifespan of the potatoes. So now I'm going to go get my fertilizer, and I'm going to be using 3400. Then I'm going to cover it up with some soil so that it has a tendency for that fertilizer to break down, and also when those roots get to a certain extent, they can thin down and get some fertilizer. And all I'm going to do is lay it in that furrow, cover it up with some soil, and then I'll be ready to plant my potatoes. Now I'll go all the way down, and I'll just kind of pat this down some. Well, pat this down because at the same time it's making me a furrow. So then what I do, my potatoes I have not cut. And so they're smaller. Every eye produces a plant. So if I want to, I cut that in half. I don't see an eye on it, but it's not to say it won't produce one. This one right here, I can cut it. In half. So each one of these will make an eye. You can actually get 4. My mom and grandma used to always cut these off because you cut these in 2 or 3 pieces so that their potatoes will go further. So now what I'm going to do with some of these, I'm just pretty much going to put them in the spot here and cover them up because I just didn't get around to cutting some of them like I plan on. If you're going to cut them, usually what I do is I just take and cut them in half and then take it, let them cure for 2 weeks, which means the part that's cut, the inside part, will kind of heal over, and then it helps it not to rot as much. Now, I can say my mom and my grandma never did that. They cut those potatoes, they put them in that ground. And so, while they're sitting in that ground, they healed themselves. But today's technology, if you want to say it like that, today's gardener just cuts them and waits 2 weeks. So, I'm going to be planting these I plant mine kind of close. I never had any problem. 8 to 10 inches. You know, you want to plant them about 10 to 12 inches apart, but I usually plant them a little bit closer than that. So pretty much I'm going to lay these down there. This one right here, I think I'm going to save it and see if I can just cut some more off of it. And sorry, the sun is shining, it's hard to see on my end, but cut some. I'm gonna save some of them, and those I'm gonna cut. A lot of these can be cut, but I'm just I've got other potatoes, so, and these are smaller. You want the eye up. You want to keep the eye up. Now, it's not going to hurt anything if you put the eye down. It'll find its way up. It might save you 3 or 4, 5 more days, a couple more days of it coming up. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rake, and I keep mine on the heel. Most people don't. I keep mine on the heel. So if rain comes, a lot of rain, it's higher up than just planting it flat. Now, most of the time I'll have my heel higher. Over there, those heels are higher. But time I cover this up, you can use your hand. Time I cover these up, I got a heel. So they're probably about 3 inches in the ground. You want to plant them 2 or 3 inches. Some people plant them 4. And I like to pat this down so that the dirt is, you know, really connecting to that potato. And I'll just continue this process all the way down. When they start growing and they get a certain height, having it onto a heel, if you don't have time to get them planted and healed up, I meant to say, if you don't have time to get them healed up, you've already got a heel here so those potatoes can grow. As they grow, you can look at the plant. You want to keep the dirt around them so that those potatoes have plenty of dirt and room to grow. There's been plenty of times that I have planted potatoes and maybe a lot was going on and these potatoes should have been healed up, but because I do it this way, then if I won't be able to get to them, then it's not a problem because they're already healed up. One year I planted them like everybody else, lower down to the ground. I lost all my potatoes. And I swore that I would never do that again because that's not how I was raised, and this is how I've always planted potatoes, and this is my success way of planting potatoes. So now what I'll do is I'll just go throughout this row, do exactly the same thing. And I'll, if I still have a picture on my computer when I'm editing this, then I'll show you last year's garden. Keep up with the videos because as this garden is producing, as this garden is growing, then I will be showing videos of how well the garden does. So if you want to know how well this garden does, then click on the future videos and you will find out what's going on into the garden, because I usually give garden tours in the garden. So it did wonderful last year, but this is how Cammie plants her potatoes. I definitely would not recommend planting them close to the ground because if you get a lot of rain, the potatoes will rot into the ground. And this way they have a better advantage of growing. A lot of people don't plant in heels like that because they say the ground dries up. Well, I've never had that problem. Actually, I see that because it's mounded up dirt, it's not flat, then there's more moisture, it holds more moisture, and potatoes do need water as they're growing. So they're tubulars, and just like sweet potatoes, they need water as they're growing. They don't need to be saturated in water, but you know, just like any plant into the garden, it takes water. And in my experience, that as I'm watering everything else, I give the potatoes some water. I mean, it's hot. It gets hot. And, you know, we need water. The plants need water. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to continue on putting these potatoes down and get them planted today. Push down. Push down. Eyes up. It's very easy. You can have a row of potatoes planted in an hour. So if you just wanted to cut your potato, cut them in half, extend more potatoes, because every eye is going to be a plant. You're just going to cut it. Whoops. And this is the side that you leave out that's going to heal. I see a little rottenness right there. For me, I'm going to cut that rottenness out. Go ahead and stop it. So you let that heal over for about 2 weeks. I'll put some in the ground. We're not going to have any rain for a couple of days or so, and then it's just going to be, you know, a couple hours, and I think they'll be fine. The eyes up, this one right here, you can cut it again. But I do find out if you cut your potatoes, they do heal over in about a week and a half, 2 weeks definitely. Last year, I took and cut my potatoes in December. Planted them February the 14th. I'm planting these in January because the weather's a little bit different, to give them a go, and I can always put plastic over them with the bows. But I cut these eyes out, and I didn't have much potato, and these eyes live off of the potato, and they still sprouted out. I planted them in the garden as an experiment, and it did work. They didn't they did grow plants. In the Great Depression, they didn't waste anything. So if they didn't have any food, they're going to eat some of this potato here, and also use the eyes. Now I didn't look that up. I just did that experiment, thinking about the Great Depression, thinking they didn't waste anything, and it works. So if you're limited on potatoes, or if you have some potatoes and you want to try that method, I can tell you it does work. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and like and share. Just want to show you how to plant potatoes the old-fashioned way, planting in a way that works. I've been successful in my life. This is how I'm planting them this year. So if you want to plant potatoes, you want just a raised bed, and you'll be amazed at the potatoes that you can get off of a raised bed. If you can't find seed potatoes, get some potatoes from the grocery store, but know that they've been sprayed with a chemical that creates them not to sprout. So it might take them a while to sprout, but eventually they will sprout. I know that for a fact because I bought potatoes, and also I bought potatoes from the seed store last year. The ones that I grew from my garden and plot 1, that doesn't exist now, but plot 1, they was yay high before the ones that I got from the seed store started coming out of the ground. So if it takes a little while for them to come out of the ground, just know eventually they will come up according to the temperature and the season that you're in your region. All right, thanks guys so much. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you're going to be growing into your garden this year. Tell me if you're going to be planting potatoes, because I would love to know. And tell me your method, because you know what? Everybody don't have to do the same. Everybody don't have, I plant Cammie's way, because you know why? I know it works. So tell me your method and how you plant potatoes. Maybe you inspire me to try that, because you know what? I'm always experimenting and get experiencing. And so yeah, I would love to know how you plant your potatoes. What is your method? What fertilizer do you use? Give me some of your secrets. I'm sharing my secrets with you of how I plant successful potatoes. Okay guys, thank you very much, and see you onto the next video. So I'm gonna get these potatoes, rest of them. I'll have far to go. I got to do another row. I might have to do 2 more rows, but the potatoes are going in the ground today. Thumbs up, guys. So I'm out here planting potatoes. And I keep hearing my chicken over there. I got a chicken that's a watchdog. I've always had a chicken that was a watchdog. So let me take a look over there, go walk over there and see what she's watching after. So let's go. What's going on, y'all? What's up? Alright, got your food all over the ground. I hear you. Out of water. Is that what's going on? Yeah? Yeah, you want water? Water? Huh? Water? Water? Alright, let's get some water. Water? Alright, girl, you're the one. You're my watchdog. Or my watch chicken. Yeah, you watch out for things, don't you? Yeah, water! Water! If she's out of food and water, she will let you know. Keep on. Water! Water! Alright, alright. I'm gonna get it right now. Alright, alright. I'm gonna get you some water. You tell me to hurry up. Stop filming? Are you saying stop filming and get your water? Huh? Water! Okay, here we go. Go get it.